good evening in America and good morning in India. See, this concept of IbadatKhana arose.
Justice, your head is cropped right across the middle. If you could shift the camera or lean back a little. Are
you able to see me now?
Yes.
Raise the
a little
more. There.
Yeah, this
now
is
you're
okay.
Now you're in the picture.
All right. Now see, this concept of IbadatKhana arose in the minds of some of us when I was in California. Between September and March, I was in California. So this idea arose in the minds of myself. I discussed it with Tasawar. He fully agreed. Then with Santosh, who lives in California, and a large number of people. Because what had happened was that certain events like Diwali and Eid Milad and the Guru Purab, the birthday of Guru Nanak, and Christmas were all falling in close proximity to each other. So we decided that we should have a function to celebrate all these religions. Now, this word IbadatKhana, I would like to tell you how this came. It was the great Emperor Akbar who propounded his doctrine of Sulh-e-Kul, which means universal respect of all religions. You see, he had another doctrine called Deen-e-Ilahi, which was a failure, which was to found a common religion that failed. But the second doctrine, Sulh-e-Kul, which means equal respect for all religions, was a great success. And he proclaimed at a time when Europeans were massacring each other in the name of religion, Catholics massacring Protestants and vice versa, and both massacring the Jews and so on. At that time, he proclaimed equal respect to all religions. And he gave Hindus highest posts in his empire, like Todarmal, Birbal, Mansingh, and so on. And this IbadatKhana, you must see it on Google. You will not find any such thing in the world ever in history. It is a building which still exists in Fatehpur Sikri, which was the capital of the Mughal Empire for about 15 years. Akbar had shifted it from Agra. And he built this building called IbadatKhana, where people of all religions came and met and debated and pointed out the good points in their religion amicably, peacefully. You will not find such a thing anywhere in the world. It was only the greatness of the great Emperor Akbar, whom I call the real father of the Indian nation, because he gave equal respect to everybody. And that is why the Mughal Empire lasted so long, because it was inclusive. It took everybody together with it. So this word IbadatKhana comes from the name of that building. And if any of you ever chance to visit Agra, then please go to Fatehpur Sikri, and then in Fatehpur Sikri, please go and see this building IbadatKhana, which exists even now, where scholars of all religions came and debated peacefully in a friendly way about each other's religion. Presently, dark clouds have come over India. After the present government came to power, persecution of minorities has begun, lynching of Muslims like Ikhlaq and Tabrez Ansari, Pehlu Khan, and all, large number you would be knowing, with impunity that has been done. And in fact, far from punishing the perpetrators, the relatives of these victims have been persecuted in criminal cases. Strange things are happening in India. जिसको कहते हैं उल्टी गंगा बह रही है. The victims' families are being persecuted. Similarly, people who are innocent, like that pregnant woman, Kashmiri woman, Safura Zargar, the only crime, if you may call it, is to protest against the Citizenship Amendment Act. Now, in a democracy, people can raise their voice against laws which they feel are wrong. There's nothing wrong in that. But she was arrested and she's still in detention. And similarly, Dr. Khafil Khan, who spoke against the Citizenship Amendment Act, Shahid Islam, these innocent people, against them, trumped up charges have been levied and they are in jail. Whereas the persons who instigated communal violence, like Kapil Mishra, who was one of the persons who instigated the Delhi incidents where a large number of Muslims were killed. He is in BJP. Similarly, Anurag Thakur, the minister, he said openly in a public meeting, Desh ke gaddaron ko, and the crowd roared, Goli maro salon ko, which means all those, who are opposed to the government, they are all traitors, they should be shot. Instigating to murder, and these people, they have not been charged. The innocent people have been charged and are in jail, and the guilty people are free and still roaming around. So what I call ulti ganga beh rahi hai India mein. Now, very, very dark times have come over India. And recently, the US Commission for Investigation into Religious Freedom wanted to send a delegation to India to investigate into the allegations of atrocities on minorities, particularly Muslims, and assess religious freedom. They were denied visa. So I've written an article called The Right to Investigate. I've sent it to Tasawar. Tasawar, please share it with everybody. You can see it on Google. Just type Justice Katju, Right to Investigate. I wrote it along with a young Muslim girl who's a law student, Ayman Hashmi. So I said in international law, there is a right to investigate. Just like, for example, that old doctrine, which was known as the Westphalian doctrine, after the Peace of Westphalia in 1648, the Westphalian sovereignty doctrine was created that every state has absolute right over its own territory. Nobody has a right to speak about what it does within its own territory. This was known as the Westphalian doctrine, Westphalian principle, that every state has absolute sovereignty over its own territory and nobody has the right to speak again about it. Now, when the Nazis, they persecuted and murdered Jews, sent them to gas chambers. After that, international law scholars have reconsidered the absoluteness of the Westphalian principle, because they said that should nobody have spoken when Hitler was sending Jews to gas chambers? Should nobody have spoken about it? So this principle has to be modified now. I mean, you can't persecute a minority within your own country and say nobody in the world should talk about it. That absolute Westphalian principle, which was created after the Peace of Westphalia in Germany in 1648, that has to be modified. So we don't say that any foreign nation has the right to invade India because Muslims are being persecuted. But certainly people have the right to investigate. There may not be a right to invade, but there's a right to investigate. So therefore the denial to visa to the delegation of the US Commission for Religious Freedom, that was invalid under international law. Please read our article. You will get it on Google. Just type Justice Katju, Right to Investigate. So I request all of you to endorse, IbadatKhana should endorse this demand that the delegation of that US Commission delegation should have the right, should be given the visa to come and investigate. What is the harm? I mean, if you have done nothing wrong, what's the harm in somebody investigating? And I've given you so many instances of lynching of Muslims, atrocities on Muslims, what kind of horrible things are being, they have been put into jail just because they have raised their voice against the Citizenship Amendment Act. In a democracy, don't people have the right to speak against laws which they feel are discriminatory? What else is democracy? But those who speak against it in India are put into jail, particularly if they are Muslims. So I request all of you now to express your views. I have said what I wanted to say. If you want to ask me something, you're welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Saab. Appreciate and I really highly respect your views and being on time. We kept 5 to 7 minutes. Respect that. With that, I will leave it. We'll open up for questions and answers, but we'll do two things. One, we'll have Sony and Nagma talk another 5 minutes each, and then we'll open for intro for everyone. So, Sony, you're on.
Thank you. And first, I'd just like to say thank you very much for, inviting me to this wonderful IbadatKhana. And it's really very close to my heart. I'm just going to talk a little bit about why it is so, because there's some things probably that most people here would not know. Probably nobody would know about me. The first thing is I am Kashmiri, but I'm half Kashmiri and I'm also half German. I'll come to that later. But because I've lived all my life in Mumbai and my family before that was not from, didn't really live in Kashmir. So my tryst with Kashmir, so to speak, began much later on, in fact, very, very recently. I've always been very fascinated by the place. I've always been, curious about why things are the way they are today. But I really started getting more and more drawn to the real issues there once I did two films. One was a film called No Fathers in Kashmir, which I wish all of you could see. It's a very, very good film. That was in 2016, we shot it, released much later because of censor problems. And the other one was Razi. That was basically because we shot it in Kashmir. And from there onwards, I started it really is my personal journey into understanding what's gone wrong there and why things are the way they are, the way they are there today. So this is also part of that process for me. But I would also like to say, because you've mentioned the Germans and the Nazis, etc., and what's happening in our country today is so akin to what happened there. The German side of my family has actually suffered greatly at the hands of the Nazi regime. They were not Jewish. My grandfather was German, but he was just before the Second World War started, maybe a year or two before, I don't know. He was running an underground newspaper. They lived in East Berlin at the time. He was running an underground newspaper against Hitler. He was arrested and thrown into a concentration camp. For 2 years. The only reason why he wasn't killed was because his wife, my grandmother, was she worked for a lawyer, and they managed to get him out of Germany, and he became a refugee in Great Britain. However, that persecution that my family faced, my mother and her parents, they had to leave. It reads like a film. They had to leave Berlin, literally walk across the border, take only one suitcase, say they were going to Czechoslovakia for a wedding. They sort of hid in Czechoslovakia for 2 years, and finally, when the Nazis invaded Czechoslovakia, they escaped from there on a Jewish train, and they went to the United Kingdom, which is where they lived the rest of their lives. And this is a very personal thing for me, what's happening today in our country, because it has so much resonance with what happened to my family. And I feel so strongly about bigotry and this kind of fascism that it resonates with me very, very strongly. And therefore, it means a lot to me to be able to do whatever I can, to kind of mitigate that. So that is one of the things. However, it's a little difficult. I come with a lot of baggage. I have a daughter who's a very famous actress. A family like mine, it's very difficult for me to be as vocal as I would like to be. So I'm actually probably not even 50% of what I would like to be if I didn't have a lot of other things in my life which would be kind of muffling what I would really like to say most of the time. Having said that, I do what I can. And as I said, I'm really honored to be a part of this. And I'm not really qualified to speak much on Kashmir because I'm still trying to understand the place. But I really think it's commendable that you've started this group. And I can see that, where you've taken it is basically outside Kashmir for the time being, it looks like. I don't know. And that's great because every movement has to start with people who with like-minded people and who want to take it forwards and make it grow. So great, I'm so happy. Thank you.
Oh, Sony, thank you. So you did speak more than 5 minutes. I mean,
Sorry, did I?
I said you did speak more than 5 minutes. You're concerned.
Hey. Okay.
You don't have to really know a lot about Kashmir as long you know humanity. That's probably what is needed to be part of the group, and that's really
Sorry, I can't hear you properly.
you can't. Oh my God. Okay. I'm gonna try to connect.
Taz, you're not close enough to your microphone. You totally jumbled, and also you're too far away from the camera.
I'll let Nagma take over because she's gonna speak, and then in the meantime I'll bring my mic. Nagma, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I'm very, very happy to be here today. And I think this is the first meeting that we're having for IbadatKhana. So it's great to meet all of you all here at this platform. And even Soni ji, it's good to see you. I mean, I couldn't react earlier. So it's wonderful that we all are together. And I think my journey has been long and far, and I've been watching this. I've been born to a little bit to introduce myself. I don't know whether you know, but Justice Katju ji and we have been working with an earlier organization, that is Kalidas Galib Foundation, and it was a pleasure to have worked with him. And that also foundation has some kind of an idea which is similar to the one which is there in Chinar Foundation and IbadatKhana as well. So earlier, I think, let me start with my family. I mean, my mom is a Muslim, my dad is a Hindu, and I was born on Christmas. So because I have a Muslim name in the film industry and I've been working for so long, I think it was always like, you know, earlier these people did have this Hindu fanaticism was there a lot. This yellow journalism was there. So I started noticing it from there, that this kind of thing is, you know, this kind of attack is constantly been there. But fortunately, I was also given the charge of Kashmir 2 years back by the Congress party, and I'm in charge of Kashmir. And since the time I got charge of Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir, I went the first time to Jammu, and then when the government was there, the Modi, BJP, PDP government was there, and then we went with a memorandum to the governor. We spoke about all the things that, you know, were against, and all the scams and things like that that were going on. And rightfully 3-4 days after that, the government fell. And then we could see that one after the other, something or the other happened. The Katwa rape happened, the Pulwama incident happened, the 370 happened. The Kashmiri Pandits, of course, has been a very sore issue. And apart from that, because they've been so closely, you know, there in politics, I've also contested a Lok Sabha earlier. Although this is not a political platform, but it's very important, I feel, increasingly important, because in today's days and times, the government, there's so much of economic crisis. And I think that the only way to deal with this, because going forward from here, I think the poor, the migrated, all these people are going to be in a great problem, because economy is generally in a problem. And as we see, as Justice Katju ji also said, that there have been a lot of arrests which have happened in the Delhi riots. But all through this, I've been very vocal. I've been speaking about this issue because mainly I think media is a very important platform, and I think today the media and the news channels are doing great disservice to the nation. And I think they have been, you know, they have no choice, because they are, you know, run by the government, and they are threatened. Like we see this Mr. Dua, Vinod Dua, who has been threatened and who's been called an anti-national, and so on and so forth. We have very good journalists, but some of them, but they've been really, really, you know, targeted. And I think that all those people who speak against me also, including me, when I speak, I get so many, you know, these bugs trolling me, which is not funny. I keep deleting all those trolls for my satisfaction, because I don't want them to be there, because it's really, really dirty. But what I mean to say is, we need to speak up, and this is a time where increasingly we will see more and more of hate happening, more of hate mongering happening, which will only increase by the day. Whether it is what is truly happening on the borders of Kashmir with Pakistan, what is happening with China, these people are not giving us the right kind of information. They are not letting the right kind of information sim through. And it's so very important that, that we keep questioning them. But yeah, it is the moment you start questioning them, like I'm just giving you a small little incident. I think I shouldn't be taking names here, but I think Shehzad is someone whom I know personally, Shehzad and Tehseen. But Shehzad day after day is speaking for the government, and he did say something which was derogatory, and I kind of, told him off. And of course, he doesn't, is not rude back with me, but at the same time, the commissioner of Delhi immediately followed me. So, they do these kind of tactics, which is intimidating, but yet you have to go on sensibly. But I think that, you have to attack tactfully. You cannot be going all guns out. I think Katju is the only one who can really do that. But I think we need to really do it sensibly. And I loved Irfan's idea. Irfan, we did the interview the other day for Kashmir Journal. And I think that idea of, attacking the government through and bringing peace, like not really as actually attacking, but bringing peace through media and culture, which is very important. I think that is the right solution. And these kind of platforms are the platforms. I would like to tell you, Soniji, that I think that all that you couldn't do, you felt you couldn't do, I'm sure you could be able to do through this organization, because as we go further, you will be able to speak up from these kind of platforms and in a different manner. I'm sure we don't have to blast it out, but we can in our own manner. And trust me, we really need to effectively get into actively working more. And I think social media platforms are very importantly where we can voice our opinions and at least call off the bluff of all these people, so that other people get the courage to go ahead and, in Kashmir, a lot of people, a lot of journalists are being muzzled. Journalism is completely muzzled. They have already given a letter, I think a day or two back, where they've said that any kind of journalism or any kind of article will only come through if the government approves of it. Otherwise, there's not going to be free press. So that's also something that we need to, raise our voice against, because free press is very important. And every day, something or the other, like 2 days or a couple of days back, the Ajay Pandita incident happened. And we strongly feel that I don't know what's happening. Why did he kept on asking for security, but the government hasn't given him security. So I think the media is not questioning the government when it has to and when it should be. Therefore, I just wanted to say these things. I think that at this moment, it is very important that we start actively, especially on all media platforms. And I think this is a great place to be in. And I'm very happy to be with all of you all here. And Justice Katju has always been like a father figure, has always given me a lot of strength, and we've done work before. So I'm really, really excited to be with all of you, with Tasawar, Santosh, Ritu, Indrajit ji, Indarvat ji, and all of you who I can't take names. Yeah, of course, Irfan's name I've already taken, but Dr. Salaya and Imran, Maya, whoever is here on this platform. So it's really a pleasure, and let's hope that we work together very strongly.
Thank you, Nagma. I appreciate that. Was really very nice and kind words. And I think we totally agree. And this thing, like what you said, maybe on a political forum, you may not be able to express yourself, your views so vividly, especially when you're like limited. Like Sony mentioned, like she is so like tied up because of her, type of relationships around her. But certainly we're apolitical. I just want to emphasize on that. Our whole idea is not to go against any political organizations, although Justice Katju has been very vocal about the current political, setup in India, but that's definitely not our agenda, right? Let politicians do what they want to do. We want to support the right, and we want to just basically be the voice of oppressed, voice of who have not been provided justice. And we see that every day that's happening. But we wanted to keep it very brief. We know we're in 40 minutes into this conversation. I like to hand it over. I like all the members to kind of take 60 to 90 seconds to introduce. I like to actually pass it on to our very special guest, a very close friend of mine, Randolph Langenbach. He is a professor, was a professor at Berkeley, or probably graduate from Harvard too. So Randolph, you want to take it on? You're on mute. So give us your 60 to 90 seconds about your thoughts on this subject.
Well, considering what we've been going through in the U.S. with a level of leadership failure that is just unbelievable with the Trump administration and everything having to do with that, and the Black Lives Matter movement, which is actually turning into something really positive. It's interesting to think of that in the context of what India has been going through with the Modi administration and Kashmir and the relationship with Pakistan and everything that means in terms of it's really some of the same issues of race, ethnicity, and also religion, and so, which is so important in India. But the whole world is kind of gone topsy-turvy and in a way at different political levels in terms of losses of what were considered standard freedoms, whether you're in Hong Kong or in Kashmir or in Afghanistan, or now, of course, in the Middle East with Iran and the Arab countries and Israel and the Palestinians, in the question of whether leadership in Israel will take over more of where the Palestinians, the Arab Palestinians live. And so I think it's really extremely valuable to have a group like this reflecting on the situation in Kashmir, which of course is a place that I love. I've been, my first trip there was in 1981, and my book is available. It was published by UNESCO, and I just hope that, what's been so sad for me is that all the effort to preserve the historic heritage there is, of course, lost in this whole question of the relationship between peoples. And it was ironic that in the U.S. That the author of a headline in a paper that said that buildings matter too, was essentially fired. The journalist who did that was fired. When in fact the most important thing is to open up all of the discussion rather than to shut it down.
Yeah, very good point, Randolph. Thanks for the words of wisdom. Yes, it is, we agree. We should be opening it for discussion. We should not shut down the voices, even if they have voices of dissent. We are in a democracy. Everybody has a right to really express their views. But we are getting there, and thanks for your support. I appreciate you taking time joining us so late in the evening in the US. I'm just going to
go. This is wonderful.
Yeah. Thank you, Randolph. Appreciate it. I'm going to hand it over to our next guest. I see on my list here, I'm not going in any order. I see the list here. Ras Siddiqui. He is a journalist based out of US, California. Originally, Ras is from Pakistan. He's a Pakistani national still, I believe, or maybe a US citizen. Ras, you want to introduce yourself? You might be on mute. Can you hear us? Okay, maybe he's having trouble.
So he's got problem with his mic apparently.
Okay, all right. I'll probably hand it over to Imran, who is a very active member, is a doctor out of California. Imran, you want to just go next? Imran, you're on mute. Unmute yourself.
Hi, my name is Imran. I'm here in California. Hello, good morning, Justice Katju. I hope you're doing good, and we miss you in California.
You extracted my tooth.
Yes, I know. I remember. I hope you're doing fine. I hope you recovered well. Okay.
Yes.
So, and hello to everyone else. I just wanted to tell you my mother is from Kashmir. My wife is from Kashmir. I grew up in Lucknow, and then I've been in California for the last 25 years. And I heard Mrs. Soni Bhatt, I heard Mrs. Nagma Murarji, and it was good point. I wish we could do a little bit more with this group. We can get a little bit more active, and I know sometimes our hands are tied. But recently, what's going on in US last 2-3 weeks from Black Lives Matter, and I see a lot of known Indian personalities have been supporting the Black Lives Matter. But what hurts is when I see so many things are happening in India, like lynching, or even you have this caste system, and we don't see those voices supporting there at that time. And I think so we need to start doing that. And I understand what Mrs. Bhatt said. It's like sometimes hands are tied, or where the families come from, and they have their own difficulties. But I wish we can just start from our own small group of friends or family, where we need to make them aware that this is a situation, and how right now in US, everybody's out. Everybody, like you take it like from doesn't matter they're educated or what family or what backgrounds they come, everybody is there protesting, and whatever is right, doesn't matter. And that's where I think so we need to start making aware this through this group to our friends, our family all around the world, that we need to stand for the right things. I know it might hurt, but that's something what right. And that's where I really believe that I wish we do this more in IbadatKhana. I mean, I see that a lot of Indian voices have been coming for Black Lives Matter, and they've been supporting from India all the way here. Why not doing the local support there? Why not just going through what happened in Delhi, or what goes in the caste system, or lynching has been going on. So I know there might be problems. But we need to come out strong in this. And I wish Tasawar, we need to start making people aware through our group is that whatever is right, we need to speak for that.
Totally agree, Imran. Thank you for your words. I totally agree. It's very ironical that people in India, raise their voices, especially the celebrities, for Black Lives Matter, when those kind of events happen like 100 times a day in India. It's very sad, right? Nobody's voicing concern. And that's why we're here, and we'll hopefully do more now that, we are growing. We have some really good core members, accomplished intellectually in their fields. I'm sure we can reach out to more people as long as we keep that spirit of, the humanity on top of everything. All right, with that, I'll hand it to next in person is Maya. Hey, Maya, right from India, back to you.
Hello, everyone. Good evening in US and here Justice Katju, namaste. I joined you after you came. You joined me after I came here. So I'm speaking here from my village. You can see in the background. So I'm sitting right here. It's a very remote village in Madhya Pradesh, Narsinghpur district, and I'm really happy to see all of you, my friends from Bay Area. And last 3 months, I'm working on this COVID-19 issues here, families, labor, and all. And we started the Sukarma Foundation 4.5 years ago, and mainly for menstrual hygiene, slowly taking over the healthcare and all other issues. So IbadatKhana, I feel strongly what, being on the ground, working here, you can see this hate is coming every day. And even I'm also facing here in a small community. The village which I'm living here, right here, we have a separate colony for the Harijan people. I mean, the caste, we don't have other religion here. We are all Hindu here, but I can see the caste, how they are affected, because they are still separated from the mainstream community. So this kind of initiative like IbadatKhana would definitely give more strength to the people, and especially the young youth. They can talk about, like, the humanity. That's what we need to raise from all over the world. I mean, we everywhere we can see the chaos, whether it is US, Europe, and India is more, because I believe this politically agenda is very, very strong here in the grassroots level. And especially these young unemployed youth, they are giving this hate injection of like Hinduism and other strong what do you call, like, haters. So you can see on the ground like how they are reacting. And we have seen during this COVID, very few people who work for who worked for, like, take as a humanity. All they were promoting their agendas, like, hey, we are supporting this uh, uh, particular community, and Muslims can't feed the other migrants, and all these kind of stories we have heard here in the ground. Even this COVID taught us, like, where we are, and no matter how we are developed as a nation or a country, we are still, we need to keep a balance in everything, like, the religion, the nature, the environment, and so-called this because took everything, like, we are destroying. So I attended this meeting back in Bay Area, and this huge get together, 200 people were there, and really nice initiative. And slowly we are moving towards this global, people advisor and think tank. And I'm really glad to be here. And thank you, Tasawar, Katju Saab, and all my friends. And really nice to hear, especially Nagma. I fought election in 2014 from
Oh, that's
Hoshangabad.
nice.
Yes. So that's how I came here in my hometown, and started this social after that election, because I have learned a lot, and I can see the basic issues here. So people here, they were thinking, oh, she came from America and she will go back, but no, I proved them wrong. And I'm still working here last 6 years, even in small issues, in small startup, but it's making impact. And now we have supported, like, 20,000 laborers, and also quite a large family in terms of ration and all basic necessity. And thank you all my friends from India, they are supporting. And thank you all of you.
So sorry to interrupt, Maya. I need to tell you something. You're doing a fantastic and great job. I've been following you. You did great during Delhi time. I see you. You go to really remote places. So keep the great work up. You've been really doing a fantastic work, Maya. Good job.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I guess I just wanted to add the same thing, Imran. I think if someone is not familiar with Maya, she is really on ground zero, helping poor people, helping the people who really need help, being there for them. I see she was like giving a bath to someone on the
She's
street.
hands-on. She's hands-on. She
We
is
really
awesome.
appreciate.
Really awesome. Good job.
So you're
Maya,
inspiration, Maya.
hats off to you. Hats off to you, Maya.
Thank you so much.
And keep up the good work, and keep bringing in that good energy and share that with all of us.
We'll see you soon in the area.
Yes, will do. Okay, I'll hand it over to Dr. Salfia. I think she has been, Dr. Salfia, I haven't met her yet in person. She has been very actively engaged in helping stranded Kashmiris in Kyrgyzstan. She's a medical student, almost probably graduating. Dr. Salfia, you want to introduce yourself? And
yes, sir. Can you hear me?
yes, we can.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. First of all, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude towards Justice Katju, sir, to induct me in Jinnah Foundation and IbadatKhana. I'm humbled and obliged. My name is Dr. Salfia. I'm a joint secretary of IbadatKhana and also the president of the Indian Reunification Association. I was born and brought up in Kashmir. I have completed my MD from med school in April from Kerala. I'm determined to work for the welfare of this organization.
Thank you. And how many students are being evacuated from Kyrgyzstan on June 26th?
So, no one from Kashmir.
So you want to mute Justice Katju's mic?
Yeah. Okay, I can do that.
We have a flight on 26th, which is already being rescheduled. So we are waiting for the evacuation though.
Okay. Thanks. Thanks for being the member, Salfia. Appreciate.
Thanks.
Look forward to working with you. Next I have on my list is Fauzia. She happens to be my sister also. She's here in California. You want to go, Fauzia?
Yeah, sure. Oh, hi everyone. My name is Fauzia. For those of you who don't know me, and like Dad said, I'm his sister. I'm also from Srinagar, Kashmir, based in San Jose Bay Area. I've been here for a very long time now, and I work for a tech company. And I just want to say that I'm glad to be part of IbadatKhana initiative, whose ideas of laical or religious tolerance that aims to bridge the religious gaps resonates with what I believe in. So thanks to Katju for providing us with this platform where all the amazing people are, come together and doing all the great humanitarian work. And yeah, so I just want to say that, and good to see you all. And it's great to see some celebrities here. I didn't know we had Sony and Fatima. I'm a big fan of you, Sony. And I've seen all your work. I've seen Raji, I've seen Alia Bhatt's work. I'm a big fan of Mr. Mahesh Bhatt. And thanks for being vulnerable in your conversation about your family, your learnings and lens with us. So look forward to working with you and everyone else. And thanks to Nagma for being so vocal and doing all the amazing work that you do and use the media platform to voice their opinions, the truth, and for just being fearless and being the voice for voiceless. So yeah, thank you everyone for your candid thoughts, and also big thanks to Maya. So everyone, let's keep doing the good work that you're doing. That's all I wanted to share with.
All right, thank you. Our spirit should be, as mentioned in Kabir's Doha, Kusturi Kundal Base, Mrik Dunde Ban Mahi, Aise hi Gati Gati Ram hai, Dunya Jane Nahi. So the God is all within us, what we're always looking. Kusturi, basically the Mrig is a heron who's always looking for that Kusturi fragrance in the forest. But it's all within us. We need to respect human lives, whether they're, Dalit, they're Christian, they're Sikh, they're Muslim. We're all humans. And
Actually, there was a quote, very nice quote for Herman Hesse. I was just reading today. I'd like to read that. He says, that's why every man's story is important, eternal, sacred. That's why every man, as long he lives and fulfills the will of nature, is wondrous and worthy of consideration. We must learn how to respect every human being. With that, I'll give it to our very close and new member in the bunch. He happens to be from Kashmir, although he has developed an accent. So we got to fix it. But in the bunch, you're on. You want to take it from here?
Good evening.
Why do you need to fix anyone?
Good evening to the members in USA and good morning to all Indians. Well, my introduction was already given by Mr. Katju, so I'll take a short time. I was born and brought up in Kashmir, and my schooling was done from Tandal Biscuit School, Srinagar. I got my home in Sanatnagar, and my official address is Abiguzar, Srinagar. So I came as a part of my business expansion to Jalandhar. So much involved more into Jalandhar city now, and doing whatever possible social activities from this place only. So my vision for Kashmir is that we have to understand the problems of Kashmir. Although I have lots of friends in Kashmir Valley, from downtown area of Kashmir, from Kapwara, from the South Kashmir area, and although keep on taking their feedback. So my vision is first to understand the basic problems in Kashmir. Recently, what happened due to pandemic, the migration, there was a big problem that lots of people of Kashmir in winters migrate to other states of India and abroad also. So it was a big problem for them to get them back to the valley. So I just realized why this migration happens, why people go for studies to others outer state of Jammu Kashmir, why people go for treatments from to outer state of Jammu Kashmir, why for business, why they move out from Kashmir. So these things are to be studied. We need infrastructure in Kashmir. We need universities in Kashmir like we do have in Punjab. There are more than 100 universities in Punjab. We have a good health infrastructure in Punjab. And similarly, I want Jammu Kashmir to prosper. We should have all these amenities so that no one needs to go to other places for all these things. That is my vision. Thank you.
Thank you, Andavansh. I really appreciate. We know your spirit. You have been. I really admire what you have done. All selfless work, and we really need people like you very close to us. And regarding Kashmir, I mean, I'm glad you brought it up. I was just talking to Justice Katju like earlier this morning, Indian time. My sister called me last night, panicked. I have another sister in India. She's a doctor in Kashmir. And she called me that, hey, I want my son, he's in 10th grade, to go to US for studies. I don't want him to study here anymore, 11th or 12th. I said, why? So like Kashmir is a lot of trouble. Schools have not opened for the last 12 months and they're really suffering. And she wants to send him to US. I was like, why not Delhi? She's like, no, I don't feel safe anymore. I don't feel safe in India. So what Indervansh said, a lot of people from Kashmir are moving out. It's very unfortunate, the environment that has been created where people feel insecure and unsafe. And although India has a really, really good education system, it's very sad that we have to migrate out and seek education. A lot of Kashmiris have recently moved. They don't feel safe. I mean, me as a minority Kashmiri, first of all, when I go